I remember standing in my driveway at 2 a.m. It was cold enough that I could see my breath in the air, and the streetlights were reflecting off the wet pavement in a way that made the whole world look like it was covered in glass. I was staring at my phone. I'd spent the last 6 hours being the loyal guy. She had gone out with her friends, told me she'd call me when she was headed home, and I had just waited. I'd turned down a night out with my own buddies. I'd skipped the gym. I'd sat on my couch, staring at the TV, waiting for a vibration in my pocket that never came. When the text finally did arrive, it didn't say, "I'm on my way." It said, "Decided to stay at Sarah's. Talk tomorrow. Night." I felt this hollow, grinding sensation in my chest. It wasn't just disappointment. It was a realization. I wasn't her partner in that moment. I was her backup plan. I was the safety net she knew would be there, regardless of how she treated my time. Most guys think loyalty is a virtue you prove by staying through the mess. In dating, that's a lie. What you're actually doing is passing the loyalty test, but you're passing it the wrong way. You're proving that you are a fan who will accept being treated like an option. Today, we're breaking down the specific ways a woman tests your boundaries to see if you're an anchor or a doormat, and how to stay grounded when she tries to move your center. If you've ever sat around waiting for a text from a girl who clearly wasn't thinking about you, hit the like button. We've all been the guy in the driveway, and it's time to stop. If you want to learn how to set boundaries that actually command respect, subscribe to the channel. Tell me in the comments, what's the longest you've ever waited on a maybe before you realized it was a no? Let's dive in. 1. The convenience pivot, the last-minute switch. This is the most common form of the test. You have a plan. It's set for 7 p.m. on a Friday. At 6:15 p.m., she texts you and says, "Hey, something came up. Can we do 9 o'clock instead? Or maybe just Sunday?" The trap here is reflective compliance. You want to be easygoing. You want to show her you're loyal and understanding. So you say, "No worries. Sunday works great." In your head, you're being a good guy. In her head, she just learned that your time is negotiable. She just learned that her whim is more important than your schedule. I remember doing this with a girl named Chloe. She'd cancel or move our plans constantly, and I'd always pivot. I thought I was showing her how much I liked her. I was actually showing her that I didn't have a life of my own. A grounded man values his time. If she pivots last minute without a massive, legitimate reason, you don't just move for her. You say, "Sunday doesn't work for me. I've got things going on. We'll have to try another time." You stay still. You let the limp rubber band of attraction have some space. If you're always available, you're never valuable. 2. The triangulation test, the other guy mention. This one is subtle and jagged. You're talking, and she casually mentions another guy, a coworker, an ex, or a friend who just did something impressive. "Oh, Mike just got that new promotion. He's so hardworking." Or, "My ex used to take me to this place all the time." This is status prodding. She is checking to see if you'll get jealous, defensive, or, worst of all, if you'll start auditioning to prove you're better than Mike. I remember sitting at a diner, the smell of burnt coffee in the air, listening to a girl talk about how her friend had just bought a boat. I felt my chest tighten. I started talking about my own business goals, trying to out-status a guy I'd never met. I failed the test. The second you react to the mention of another man, you've told her that you're insecure about your own position. A man who is an anchor doesn't even acknowledge the competition. He doesn't get angry, and he doesn't try to compete. He stays in his own skin. He knows that if she's looking at Mike's boat, she isn't looking at him, and he's okay with that, because he doesn't need her to validate his worth. 3. The breadcrumb bait, low investment pinging. This happens when you haven't talked in a few days. She hasn't initiated, she hasn't made a plan, but she sends a "hey" or a random meme at 10 p.m. This is maintenance-level interest. She's pinging you to see if you're still loyal. She's checking to see if the fan is still in the front row. Most guys jump at this. They reply instantly with 3 sentences for her one word. I remember being on my bed, staring at a "how's it going?" text from a girl who had ignored me for 3 days. I replied in 30 seconds. I thought I was keeping the vibe alive. I was actually just confirming that I was waiting around for her. If she isn't investing in a real conversation or a real plan, the breadcrumb doesn't deserve a feast. You treat it with the same energy she gave it, or you don't treat it at all. 4. The compliance check, the jump request. This is when she asks you for a favor that is slightly inconvenient or out of the way, usually early in the dating process. Can you pick me up? It's 40 minutes away, but my Uber is expensive. Or, can you help me move this furniture on Saturday morning? It sounds like a request for help, but it's often a compliance check. She's testing to see if you'll prioritize her needs over your own boundaries. I remember helping a girl move a couch on a Saturday when I had a major deadline for work. I thought I was being loyal. I ended up sweating in a cramped apartment, feeling resentful, while she barely thanked me. I had taught her that I would sacrifice my mission for her convenience. A man who stays grounded knows when to say no. You aren't a service provider. You aren't a nice guy who earns points by being a servant. You help when it's earned and when it fits your life, not just because she asked. 5. The space re-entry, the pull-away test. We talked about the breakup bait, but this is the version that happens during the relationship. She pulls away. She gets cold. She stops being affectionate. She is testing to see if you will panic. Most guys become reactive participants. They start asking, is everything okay? Did I do something? Do you still like me? This is the fastest way to lose a woman's respect. You are asking for a status report on her feelings because you can't regulate your own. I remember the silence in my house being deafening when a girl I was seeing stopped texting. I felt like the world was ending. I sent the talk text, and I watched the attraction die in real time. If she pulls away, the loyalty test isn't about chasing her to show you're loyal. It's about being loyal to yourself. You stay steady. You go to the gym. You work your job. You let her feel the void we talked about. If she comes back to a man who didn't move. If she doesn't, she was never yours to begin with. 6. The public disrespect, the social boundary. You're out with her and her friends. She makes a joke at your expense. Or she ignores you to talk to someone else. Or she's on her phone the whole time. This is a social boundary test. She is checking to see what you will tolerate in front of others. If you laugh it off or stay quiet, you've passed the test as a doormat. I remember being at a party where the girl I was with spent 30 minutes flirting with the bartender while I stood there holding her coat. I felt like a ghost. I should have put the coat on the chair and walked out. Instead, I stayed, hoping she'd notice me. She didn't. She just lost more respect for me. Loyalty doesn't mean staying through disrespect. Loyalty means having the self-respect to leave a situation that doesn't value you. If you don't set the boundary in public, she'll never respect it in private. 7. The loyalty fallacy, the hero trap. A lot of guys stay in toxic situations because they think they're being the hero. They think their loyalty will eventually save her or make her realize how great they are. This is the hero trap. You are using loyalty as a cover for your own fear of being alone. I stayed with a girl who lied to me and treated me like an option for a year because I thought I was being the better man. I wasn't being the better man. I was being the weaker man. True loyalty is a two-way street. If you are the only one holding the anchor, you aren't in a relationship, you're in a hostage situation. You have to be willing to walk away from anyone who requires you to betray yourself to be with them. That is the ultimate loyalty test. Loyalty to your own mission and your own peace. Look, the reason these tests happen is because a woman's biological radar is constantly scanning for strength. She needs to know that if life gets hard, if the storm hits, you aren't going to fold. If you fold because she moved a date from Friday to Sunday, she knows you'll fold when things actually matter. If you panic because she didn't text you back for 6 hours, she knows you can't lead. These loyalty tests are her way of checking the foundation of the house. Most guys think they pass by being compliant. They think passing means making her happy in the moment. But the paradox of dating is that making her happy through compliance often makes her lose attraction. She doesn't want a man she can move. She wants a man who is the anchor. An anchor doesn't move because the tide changed. An anchor doesn't move because a Mike with a boat showed up. It stays down. When you stay grounded, you aren't being mean or unpredictable. You are being stable. And stability is the rarest and most attractive currency a man can carry into a room. 8. The maybe loop, the indecision trap. I see this with guys who are stuck in the talking phase for months. She's not sure what she wants. She needs to find herself. She is testing to see how long you will wait in the lobby. This is indecision bait. As long as you stay there, being the loyal guy who's waiting for her to decide, she has no reason to ever make a choice. Why would she? She has the benefits of your attention without the cost of commitment. I remember being in a maybe loop for 6 months. I was her shoulder to cry on, her +1 for weddings, but never her boyfriend. I thought I was proving my loyalty. I was actually proving my lack of options. The second I told her, I'm not interested in this maybe thing anymore. Let me know if you want something real, otherwise I'm moving on. She panicked. But by then, I'd already seen who she was. Don't wait in the lobby. If she isn't a hell yes, she's a no. 9. The digital respect gap. This is the mark on dating reality of 2026. She's posting thirst traps on Instagram, or she's liking her ex's photos, or she's keeping her dating apps active just for the memes. This is the digital loyalty test. She's checking to see if you have the balls to set a boundary on social media. Most guys are afraid to say anything because they don't want to seem controlling. There is a difference between being controlling and having standards. If her digital behavior is disrespectful to the relationship, you don't argue about it. You don't beg her to stop. You simply state your standard. I'm not interested in being with a woman who needs that kind of external validation while she's with me. If that's how you want to carry yourself, that's fine, but I won't be part of it. And then, and this is the part most guys miss, you have to be willing to leave if she doesn't meet the standard. A boundary without a consequence is just a suggestion. The loyalty test isn't about her. It's about you. It's a mirror that shows you exactly where your self-worth is. If you are a man with a mission, a man who has his job, his gym goals, and his internal peace locked in, then her tests don't bother you. You don't even see them as tests. You just see them as data. You see a last-minute cancellation as a sign that she doesn't value your time, and you act accordingly. You don't need to be angry. You don't need to be aggressive. You just need to be immovable. A man who is an adult male with short brown hair, a rounded face, and a light stubble beard, a man who knows he is the prize, doesn't chase. He doesn't audition. He stays steady. He stays grounded. Next video, we're going to look at the final discard. The 3 signs that she's officially checked out, and how to walk away with your dignity before she has the chance to fire you. Stay steady. Stay grounded. I'm Mark, and this is Mark on Dating.